to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
And now, the special presentation.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Skewered Universe Podcast, the Dawn of the Dead special. We're coming at you once again, part 3. And I'm joined once again by your friend and mine, Patrick French. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's happening, my friend?
Hey, you know, same old shit, different day.
Oh yeah, you know, the precipice of nuclear Armageddon.
Yeah, that's always fun, you know.
Yeah, but you know what might be a little bit worse is like a complete zombie takeover of the planet. Maybe slightly worse, maybe not. I mean, you know, who knows what mutants will be crawling the wasteland when that happens.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I've seen Chud. You've seen Chud, right?
Oh, yeah, I've seen Chud and Chud 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Chud 2, yeah.
Bud the Chud.
Bud the Chud. Hey, do you think that, well, we can save that for later on. I had a thought there.
All right.
I was just
like,
do you think George Romero drew inspiration for Bud from Bud the Chud, or which one happened first?
Oh.
No, Chud 2 had to have been after.
It had to have been. I want to say that's like 87.
Okay, then yeah.
Because I think the original Chud was 84, 85.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Maybe then the Chud people definitely stole from Day of the Dead for sure.
Oh, they would have had to. I mean, that movie doesn't even make sense as a sequel to Chud because it's zombies, and the original Chud were
cannibalistic
creatures.
Humanoid underground dwellers.
Yeah.
I remember that. They're an acronym.
It's an acronym for something. Chud 2 was just like, zombies, whatever.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to derail the podcast.
No, you're good. You're good. This podcast gets derailed more than trains, and wow, that was.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just not even touch on that. Let's
just stop it right there. Avoid further derailment.
So the last time we conversed about the film Dawn of the Dead from 1978, I'm trying to bring a little class with the voice here. We left off right where our boys were getting ready to pull off the hit and run as they got into the mall.
Yeah. The old hit and run.
Yeah, that classic maneuver.
You know, the one that the audiences should be familiar with, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, once they said hit and run, the very first time I saw it, I was like, oh, I know exactly what they're going to
do. Ken Faree was going to lightly punch a zombie.
Just delicately slap him.
Yeah, just kind of like, as he ran by. You know, like that's a classic scene, man. Like, I think that's the scene where he like grabs a zombie and like back breaks it. No, I'm just kidding. No, he grabs a zombie and it would have been sweet if he did the backbreaker on the zombie and then threw it over the railing. That would have been fucking awesome.
Oh man. Just imagine, you know, stalling suplexes and all sorts of wrestling moves.
He just does a tombstone. He's just like, I'm time to bury you again, and then just tombstones it and then throws it over.
These zombies aren't gonna last much longer. I will make you rest in peace, boy.
Yeah. Does the full Undertaker? He just does like a suplex backflip and launches the zombie off the. That's what I want to see. I want to see professional wrestlers in the zombie apocalypse.
Just imagining Roger being lawn darted at a zombie. It's like, throw me at him.
I just imagine Triple H like pedigreeing a zombie, you know, or Kane choke slamming a zombie, like choke slamming it into the railing.
Oh,
yeah, dude, that would be amazing. Imagine that team of pulling a hit and run. They would have cleared out that entire mall in like 15 minutes, easy.
Yeah, with no issue.
They would have been closed lightly. They could have all linked arms, just ran across the mall and just swept them all up. But anyway,
you got these zombies, brother.
Ruthless aggression. You know what I mean? Like McMahon. Anyway, so yeah, the old hit and run.
Yes, the old hit and runs. basically their plan is to go through and start clearing out as much as they can.
Yeah.
Kind of
Well,
assess the situation.
I think the initially wasn't their whole thing was like, well, I mean, we already covered the power plant zombie, right? Did we get through that part?
We might have. I think we touched on it slightly, but let's discuss it again just in case we missed, or if somebody may have forgotten.
Yeah. So yeah.
Roger and Peter have already made their way into the mall. They've gone through this office. They're in the actual mall. Yeah. Steven, because he needs to fit in and show how masculine he is, has decided, well, I'm gonna go too.
Yeah, there's like the whole scene. So Peter and Roger leave to go check it out, right? Like, because they discuss, about checking it out. There's all that stuff down there, the idea that they could, I think this is where the film starts to kind of play on the theme of like stuff, even in the face of, humanity's extinction. That stuff is still this huge lure, right, to both the living and the dead. And they discuss checking it out, and Steven's still asleep, and Fran is like, where are you guys going? And they say, we're going to go check it out, don't wake up Flyboy. So they head on down, and they're already kind of making their way. There is that scene where they do briefly go through the power area of the mall, and you kind of see the odd, like this zombie's like definitely peak 70s zombie with the hairdo.
Oh yeah.
The beard and everything. You kind of see him shuffling around in the background, but Peter and Roger don't see him. And then we get to that part where Steven wakes up, and he's like, those guys are maniacs, or whatever he says. And for no reason is like angry. And he's pissed. He's pissed because he doesn't feel like he's part of the club. And
it's like, well, you're not an officer, dude. You have no training.
You're just
you almost killed somebody not that long ago.
Yeah, that's right. We talked exhaustively on how incompetent Steven is, and inexplicably, like, listen, man, if I'm the dude, like, I'm like what's his name, Terry Andrews, I think that's the actor's name, in Day of the Dead, where I'm just like my job is to fly the whirly bird. That's it. That's all I'm doing. Like, you know what I mean? Put gas in the chopper. My job is to fly the chopper. I don't care about anything else. I live in a trailer in a zombie cavern.
Look, they protect me from them. I fly the helicopter. We've got a good arrangement.
Yeah.
Don't need to make any waves.
Yeah, but Steven being, a strong, virile, capable of impregnating a woman, hotshot helicopter pilot, he's got to go join the boys down in the mall.
Yeah, because it's definitely not about proving how much of a man he is.
If anything, all the movie proves is that Steven is the worst shot in cinematic history.
Oh my God, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
So like
if he was standing 3 feet from it.
Like where you just left off. Yeah, so Steven heads down, he does some research, he finds some valuable information in regards to the the crawl spaces above the
he found the map for the ventilation system.
The ventilation system. But as he's making his way down, that weird, I don't know why this zombie looks like something out of the Old West. I don't know why. He reminds me of like a Civil War soldier. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a look he's got going.
He does have he is rocking that late 70s aesthetic. My mom dressed me in an out. There's a baby picture on my Facebook profile where I'm wearing a very, traditional 70s outfit. And I don't know, this guy's kind of wearing the maintenance version of that same outfit,
Yeah. Oh, definitely 70s. And by the way, I think most of us who were born in the 70s and into the very early 80s have pictures like that somewhere. I've got pictures like that. I refuse to let them see the light of day.
Yeah. We're all the Xers definitely have pictures of their boomer parents trying to dress them like they were pimps or, going to some disco. My mom even told me horrifyingly that my dad had the exact same matching outfit. And I was just like, oh my God. But anyway, yeah, that zombie definitely is rocking that 70s aesthetic. We won't talk about my
super
my
70s
parental units for fashion choices for her child.
Yeah,
But
so he's definitely a 70s zombie, and this scene once again proves just how inept Steven is. He when he discovers the zombies there, he starts shooting but not aiming.
Well, he finds let's not gloss over the fact that like the employer, the whoever's the general manager of the maintenance staff in the mall, this is definitely a different era when you could bring a firearm and ammunition to work, because as Steven's like
forgot. Oh my God.
wrestling through the drawers of, presumably the 70 zombies former workstation, he finds like an old-timey 22 with, rocket long rifle shells. I mean, those were some big ass bullets. Some big charges on those 22 rounds. He finds a bunch of shells. He finds this ridiculously old-timey pistol. I mean, I know it's a modern replica, but it looked like something, like a Civil War.
This old school revolver.
Yeah, super old school.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Loads the gun and he doesn't load the gun. He takes the box of shells, takes the gun, has the book in his hands, and starts trying to make his way to the guys, to the fellas. And he sees the shadows and starts noticing the zombie stalking him, and just totally inexplicably starts firing in the dark as bullets are bouncing around.
Yeah, disregard for anything. Who knows if either Roger or Peter may have shown up behind him or anything.
Yeah, he's just blasted away. He's just like, he sees a shadow and he shoots at it. Sees another shadow, shoots at it. It's crazy.
Eventually, he hits it.
Well, I mean, we also glossed over the fact that the zombie gets the drop on him. The freaking zombie gets the drop on him.
Again, he is in peril for his life.
Because the zombie gets a drop on him and he falls down. He's got his gun, the zombie's gun. I think the zombie just wanted his gun back. And and what does he fire? Like 4 or 5 rounds at the zombie.
At least.
Still at like point blank range. I mean, the zombie's fingers are literal inches from his face. And he finally connects after like 20 shots, I mean, I'm just kind of gobsmacked at Roger's, how Roger has not become how Steven has not become a zombie at this point in the movie. It's improbable.
I have no idea. You see, I'm speechless here. I don't have an answer for that.
It's unbelievable. It's totally unbelievable. It's just like, it's
like,
comedic.
You should already be dead.
Yeah.
Why are you still alive?
Because he's the flyboy, I guess he knows how to get out of situations. I mean, and he's definitely not cool under pressure either. He's not like Roger or Peter. I mean, he was definitely stressed by the end of that encounter with one zombie. One shuffling, slow zombie, and it didn't even try and bite him. It just goosed him, and he just dropped everything.
Yeah, he's like, oh no.
Yeah. Oh man, it was good. That was good. That was a good part of the film. I kind of feel like, man, they just kept emphasizing over and over and over again how much of a meathead. I mean, Steven just keeps losing over. If he isn't losing his gun, he's getting his ass kicked by a zombie. Mm-hmm. Then he's getting his ass kicked by, freaking Peter. Then he's getting his ass kicked by another zombie. Then he's getting his ass kicked by his girlfriend. you know, and then he's getting shut down. Like he's got to be the patient zero of cunts in cinema, right?
Oh man, I never heard it put that way, but I'm pretty sure you're right. It makes sense when you think about it.
I mean, if Alex Jones was on this podcast with us, he definitely would have called Steven a cunt for sure.
Oh Jesus! And then he would have talked
beta
about
male.
frogs changing their sex. I don't know.
Gay frogs, yeah, but
Gay
yeah.
frogs. That's what it was. Gay frogs.
Yeah. Steven definitely, you know, I have no words.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So he eventually gets cleared from this zombie. He eventually makes good on dispatching this other random zombie that almost killed him.
Yeah. I mean, we should put it out there. There are like 2 instances of just random zombies almost taking people out.
Right.
That kind of narratively are questionable narrative devices except to fill time.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like, oh, we need something here.
We need 5 minutes of footage here. We need an excuse for some of Tom Savini's awesome practical effects.
Yeah. It's like Tom went, hey, I got a really cool headshot idea. All right, we need 5 minutes anyway. Load it up.
I got this half a head extra sitting here, and I got like a quarter of this fake blood. We need to do something with this stuff. But yeah, we're getting to the second one.
So while Steven is, bumbling about, with I'm assuming that scene should have had yakety sax playing in the background as he was bumbling around with that zombie.
It really should have.
So
or they should have Benny Hill. If they had cut in Benny Hill, like imagine a comedy where Benny Hill's doing that whole scene.
Oh my God.
Would have been amazing, dude.
Oh, thinking about it is
just Benny Hill running through the conductors or the pipes there, just with yakety sax playing in the background.
And then, of course, after he kills the zombie, he'd be running around again, and then women in their underwear would be following him because
exactly.
That's Benny Hill.
Benny Hill. Anyway, sorry, Jeff. I'm gonna be doing this all day. I'm so random right now.
Hey, it's fine. No worries, man. But while this is going on with Steven, Roger and Peter, meanwhile, have been working their way into J.C. Penney.
Yes. When J.C. Penney was badass.
When you could get groceries at J.C. Penney.
You could get furniture, you could get clothes, TVs, groceries.
Hardware.
You could get fucking Jack Daniels at J.C. Penney's. Once upon a time, kids, to anybody who is younger than, say, 35, as unbelievable as it sounds, you could walk into a J.C. Penney's. Yes, some of you may not know what that is, but it was a major department store, and you could buy alcohol and groceries there, all in one place. It was like the Walmart. J.C. Penney's was more like the Target of its day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little more classy.
Yeah, think of Target with lots of wood grain products.
And giant wheels of cheese, which always threw me off. I'm like, who's buying that much cheese from J.C. Penney?
Somebody who has really bad constipation.
Ooh.
Yeah, you get a giant wheel of cheese. Oh man, your guts are gonna hate you for a week. Take it from me.
At least a week.
Yeah, at least a week.
Maybe longer, depending on how much you actually consumed.
But nonetheless, our intrepid heroes do make their way to J.C. Penney's. They did find the keys, I believe, right? They found the keys.
Yeah, they found the keys.
Oh, did they find the keys? Okay.
Yeah, they had the keys because they found the keys to turn on the lights and kind of get everything.
That's right.
Started.
Yeah, because we sort of went through that part. Yeah, they turn on the lights, they turn on the fountains, all the displays come on.
Found the main control panel. The fountains are on, the music is going.
The announce, the ghostly, mall announcer voice is talking about all the deals.
Make your
All the
way over.
zombies are all like blown away by the effects now. You remember there are like scenes where the zombies are just like, oh, they're just like setting the precedent for Land of the Dead fireworks zombies.
Yeah. The sky flowers.
Sky flowers, yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Oh man, we're gonna have to get into that one at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely touch on that one.
Oh, that was oh man, yeah. It had what's his name? God, the actor who was in the Pest, John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo, yes.
Yeah. Oh man, it was so bad. I own it on DVD.
I used to, and then I got rid of it. But I own a digital version that's the unrated or director's cut or whatever.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, let's not forget Ozzy Argento, who is, Dario Argento's daughter. So there's some other, kind of ties back into this movie a little bit.
The maybe murderer of what's his name, Anthony. Sorry about that, Jeff. I couldn't help it, man. I had to take that shot. I had to take that crack in there, I'm a comedian. That's what I do. I'm a wannabe comedian. That's what I do. She murdered him with her sultriness and her ability to cheat. But anyway, that's for another episode.
That is for our what was his now I forgot what his show was, so let's just forget the joke. Oh man.
I mean, I guess if you want to tie back eating to the trilogy of the Dead series, I guess you could make a very slight case that they're related, I guess, in some way.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah. And I actually think, kind of going back to these guys, Roger and Peter being at JCPenney, I kind of think their idea of what they're doing is actually pretty smart.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Because before Steven eventually meets up with them, they're kind of drawing the attention to one level of the store and then going to the next level, whether it be the top or the bottom, and they're kind of alternating.
Yeah.
As they're getting some supplies and some stuff that they can take back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's that whole scene where, like, I think it's Peter who shows up with it's Roger who shows up with the who is it? Is it Peter who shows up with the wheelbarrow? Or Roger shows up with the wheelbarrow?
I think it's Roger that shows up with the wheelbarrow.
And Peter's like, I don't know who says it, but they're like, one of them is like, what are we supposed to do? Roll it right past them? And I think it's Peter, because Roger's like, what are we supposed to do? Roll it right past them? And then he's like, we're gonna try, and that's when they start dumping in like a TV and a bottle of whiskey and
the essentials.
Yeah, the essentials. I mean, they're dudes, right? Like,
right.
They're setting up their man cave upstairs. So you gotta have a TV, you gotta have a radio, you gotta have some
what this apocalypse needs for us to create the ultimate 70s swinging bachelor pad.
And they do, dude. No, legit. Towards the end of the movie, their place is fire, man. They got that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Their place, yeah.
We'll get there because it doesn't take long to get there.
Yeah. This whole section kind of goes pretty quickly, where they, the time between them landing and sort of setting up shop is a pretty quick transition, because that, Peter and Roger are already talking about it.
Right.
Shortly after they sort of break into the upper area, they're already talking about like, hey, this is a good thing. Maybe we shouldn't cut out of here so early. Let's take a break, check things out on the radio. I know definitely Peter is ready. He's ready to like hang out for a bit. He wants a break.
Yeah. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because they had everything there.
Yeah.
If they're able to just clear out the zombies that are already in the mall, they've got free reign of the place. They've got electricity, they've got water, they've got a place to live and food, as long as it stays,
zombie free,
viable.
Yeah.
Bunch
Yeah,
of
they
canned
got it.
goods and preserves, so that's
Hell yeah,
gonna last you longer.
they got a fucking arcade in there.
Oh yes,
They
a
got a
beautiful
legit.
70s arcade.
They got that old West game. They got Pong. That
Racing
was a legit.
game.
Yeah, like the projection racing game. That was a legit arcade in 1978.
Yeah, it definitely was. And I was like, oh, the memories.
They had the
Seeing some of those
Brown Derby.
machines.
Remember they had the Brown Derby in there, Jeff?
They did.
That place was baller back in the 70s, dude.
That was where you went. That was where everybody went.
Yeah, kids. You Zillennials don't know about that.
No.
We're old. We know about this. Is like your two uncles learning you something about mall culture from the 70s.
Sit down and let us spin you a yarn about the way the malls used to be when I was your age.
Back in my day, I had to dodge Chesters in the arcade. Anyway.
Oh man.
I digress. So yeah, they're definitely in JCPenney's. They're stocking up. They have a plan to draw the zombies away. And again, another sort of precedent-setting zombie is just waiting for our good friend Roger. I think that's after Steven arrives, right? Like Steven gets there.
Yes. Steven meets up with them. I think he meets with Peter outside because he's got the wheelbarrow and he's like, you need to listen. Basically, like, listen to what we're saying.
Yeah.
Don't do anything stupid.
Yeah. He's like, there's that whole interchange they have where some of the zombies start making their way down the hallway, and he's like, don't go up those stairs, baby. You'll lead them right up. And then that's when we're introduced to, some of the named zombies, right? Like these are the upper echelon zombies. These are the zombies that have personality, pizzazz. You got a nurse. You got the Hare Krishna zombie.
Ah, yes, the Hare Krishna zombie.
You got the gun. You got the gun or the gun diddler zombie. The zombie that looks like a dad who just wants to play with all the guns. The gun diddler zombie.
He's definitely.
He's definitely the Second Amendment zombie.
He is the NRA personified.
Yeah, exactly. He was like the father or the founder, or definitely, the head of the chapter of the NRA in his town before he was turned. Kind of ironically, right? Like you'd think that guy would be the king in the apocalypse.
Yeah, you would think. But no.
It was that damn 70s zombie, the power worker zombie that got to him. That's my headcanon. Like that creeper zombie who starts goosing people. He doesn't want to actually eat you. He just wants to scare the shit out of you. So you drop everything. Or maybe the Hare Krishna zombie turned the gun diddler zombie.
I can't be shooting no man apiece. Like, really?
He does have it. Yeah. Yeah, maybe he was just an honorable gentleman.
That could very well be. We could be assuming incorrectly.
I totally could be. But yeah, so spoiler alert, Peter tells Steven, hey, don't go back up the stairs. You're going to lead the zombies with you. They manage to lure a group of said zombies, back out of the hallway. Steven runs, does his best, like, track meet impression, dodging zombies.
Yes, dodging them is he's good at dodging zombies.
Yeah.
He's not good at confronting.
Yeah.
He's better at dodging.
He's good at awkwardly shouldering zombies out of the way. But yeah, he's not so good at shooting them or fighting them. But in surprise, the Hare Krishna zombie, ironically starts to make its way up the, down the hallway. They kind of lose track of that zombie, and he very dramatically, I can see him in my mind right now, very dramatically sort of looking back and then turning back to start shuffling down the hallway again.
And he's the only one.
Yeah.
He's the only one that's something caught his
he's
attention or something.
I think he probably realized that maybe he could go find some converts down the hall, because he seems like a pretty gentle zombie,
I can spread the word.
he just seemed like such a gentle soul, like he was probably immensely gentle and before he was zombified, and he's relatively clean faced,
Fairly young.
Yeah, he definitely
He has an
hasn't
innocence about it. Even though he's a zombie, there's an innocence about it.
There truly is. He's like the golden child. He's basically he's basically the golden child, all grown up. But yeah,
oh shit!
You got seeing is believing, guys. That's what it boils down to. You got to see this movie, you'll know what we're talking about. But yeah, so Steven and Peter and Roger are off again.
And let's not forget, Roger is attacked by probably the most spry and the most stealth zombie
ever in canon. Yeah, I mean that zombie was waiting.
It's waiting because they're running by, and he just jumps through this display of mannequins, just kind of jumps on Roger.
Oh, totally. And
it's like yeah, what?
That's why I'm like this scene had to have been one of those scenes that they filmed, maybe after production had wrapped, or they realized, once they got everything together that they needed, 5 or 10 minutes of running time to sort of fill the gap somewhere.
I can answer why this scene exists.
Okay.
There was a continuity error they found from when Steven, Roger, and Peter met up. Roger had a sweater, and then in the next scenes, Roger's sweater was gone. So they filmed this shot of the zombie attacking Roger and pulling his sweater away, him having to untie his sweater to kind of get the zombie off of him.
Yeah.
And then subsequently taking the screwdriver to the ear to explain why Roger no longer had his sweater.
Oh my God. I mean,
so they're like, hey, there's something missing here. They're like, that doesn't make sense. He has it, then he doesn't. We need something in there to explain what happened to the sweater.
Okay. Oh my God, Jeff. I'm like, that's like a freaking, that's like a bone sticking in my throat right now. They chose that. I mean, in a film chock full of continuity errors, right? Like there are several glaring continuity errors. Let's not even begin to discuss the blood on Roger's face in the coming truck scenes, okay? Or even the light timing in. I mean, they chose that little. Oh my God, that's mind blowing to be right now.
Yeah, somebody caught it and they said, "Oh, we need to shoot a scene to explain this."
Oh man, I'm gonna rage when we discuss the trucks. That I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm just telling you right now, man. It's over, because that's some bullshit, man. And here's the thing about that scene, right? Here's the thing about that scene. Why in the hell is everybody standing around in that scene to let Roger, like clearly Roger's overmatched at various points in this like 5-minute long scene. He's obviously struggling. He's obviously having difficulty. And Peter and Steven are just kind of sitting there watching him. I mean, it's a badass scene, don't get me wrong. I mean, screwdriver to the brain, that's holy shit, but I just remember that scene. I loved it as a kid. I was like, oh damn, but and the blood and everything, it was amazing. But I think what bothered me was like, if my friends were just standing around while I had to stick a zombie in the ear with a screwdriver, I'd be pretty pissed off.
Yeah, the only thing I think I can say is that maybe Peter knew Roger could handle himself, and Steven was just scared, like, I've already almost been killed twice. I'm not getting in on this.
Or maybe it was like some weird initiation. Like they were like, all right, this is how we do it in our unit. Like you gotta get yourself out of one life or death situation with a zombie. It was like they were
Initiation
jumping,
time, baby.
yeah, it was like they were jumping Steven into the gang, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
man.
you wouldn't see how it's done. But yeah, I just remember that kind of bugging me, you know, like why the fuck aren't they helping Roger right now?
Yeah, it's like it's just one. It's not like there were 3
Yeah.
or 4 of them. It's one.
You're two dude. You picked that dude up, and then yeah, Peter could have done some fucking awesome backbreaker on that zombie, you know, or like
Oh yeah.
through like there should have been more throwing of zombies. I mean, we established that Peter's a super strong dude. He's like superhuman strength. I mean, he should have chucked that fucker. Like
He should
him,
have.
you know.
He should have walked over,
I
and just
mean,
one-handedly pulled him off of Roger and threw him aside.
through him, so you get more of those awesome dummy shots.
See, that's what would happen nowadays. They would make him super strong. He'd pick him up with one hand and then like swing him around over his head and then throw him.
Yeah. Or he would just like grab his head and just rip his head off. Spine and all. Yeah. But in the 70s, kids, it was a different time.
It definitely was.
People were more realistic then. Because you know they were trying to make a realistic movie. No sarcasm there at all.
Oh man.
You know, a movie where they address continuity errors, minor continuity errors with
For
like,
a sweater.
10 minutes of it's just oh my god.
I mean, and I'm not trying to knock this movie, but for
Not at all.
a
We're
sweater.
Not. We love it.
I love the movie. I love it.
We
Its
love the
errors
movie.
and everything at all, but that is the one thing that stuck out to somebody is hilarious.
I mean, it's just an example of like how movie making I think is largely a group effort, you know, and how movies change from what is captured by the camera to what is ultimately put together by an editor, you know. And I think if you're not careful as a director, and we know that George Romero was one of those directors who was very careful about his craft and you know took it seriously. You know, they say a good editor can make a horrible movie watchable, you know, and that, you know, no matter what you do, a Steven Seagal movie is going to be unwatchable after, you know, anything after 1993 is going to be awful. So even if you have the best editor in the world, so and it's just, I think it's a cautionary tale there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, directors need to be reined in, but I think the unsung hero of a lot of films is the editor, because without someone who knows how to put together these scenes and sort of tell the story and figure out what doesn't need to sort of trim the fat off the steak, if you will, before putting it in the pan.
Yeah.
A good editor knows how to tighten everything up and make everything flow. So you could have this long, drawn out movie that you're like, it's fine. Then an editor can get in there and be like, look, you cut this, cut that, splice it here, tape it here. We're done. Look, I just saved you 90 minutes and your movie's even better.
You know, I think Dawn is I mean, I wouldn't be talking about the movie if I hadn't seen it, you know, hundreds, well, I don't know, hundreds of times, but certainly a dozen plus times, maybe in, you know, into the 20s of times.
Yeah, same here.
You know, but there are obviously some continuity errors, and you know, I think the beginning part of the movie is certainly a little less tight and a little less focused than the second half of the movie. So, you know, if I sounded like I was degrading the movie, I'm not. I'm just, you know, sort of amazed by your story and that being sort of the hill that they chose to die on in terms of, you know, fixing a perceived continuity error, because, you know, I mean, there are other continuity errors in that movie, and that one just seems like some assistant director or some, DA or whatever, or PA or whomever decided they were going to choose that particular, scene to pick a,
Right.
pick a fight over. You know what I mean?
And it's such a minor thing that half the time when I'm watching this movie, I forget he's even wearing the goddamn sweater until that scene comes up, and then I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
That sweater scene is so fast where they're kind of browsing through stuff, because they're like, oh shit, we're in this mall and we can take whatever we want now. You definitely easily forget. And I know what transition you're talking about. It's a transition where they go from upstairs to downstairs in an attempt to draw the zombie horde away. He's flying down the escalator with that sweater tied around his waist, and then all of a sudden he doesn't have that sweater on in the very next scene or whatever it is. And
right,
unless you're like somebody who's seen the movie 30 times like we have, you would never notice that. That's not something you would, what I mean, unless you were picking it apart critically, and if you're worried that like a guy like Roger Ebert is going to tear apart your film over that particular continuity error, then dude, you're on the wrong movie set.
Yeah. And anyway, Ebert, I've got issues with what he said about some of my favorite movies. I'm like, you just don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, get off your high horse for a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, this isn't the Roger Ebert bashing cast. I'm not trying to speak ill of the dead. I just think some of his opinions on movies that I think are fine are shit. But
I was gonna
nothing against him personally.
Yeah, I was gonna make an horrible jaw joke. Like talk about a stiff upper lip, because that's the no, I'm not going there, man. I'm not doing this. We probably have already created a furor, maybe, or furor,
quite possibly
furor, whatever you want. Not furor like Hitler, but like a commotion over the mention of a certain disgraced Hollywood director. So I'm definitely not. Not taking it to Roger Ebert like that.
Yeah, no. I had no personal issue with the guy. I just think some of his opinions weren't
I just think
exactly as educated as I think he wanted them to be.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Exactly. We're back.
We're back.
I agree with you.
Essentially what happens is they decide they're going to stay at this mall, and upon them discussing how they're going to get back, because they know they can't just go through the door that they took to get out there, that's when Steven shows them the map to the ducting system and says, we can use this to get back and forth. And they won't see us.
Yes. Oh, this is such a good scene too.
And while this is happening, our Hare Krishna zombie is just moving right along and figuring out how to slowly get in through a barricaded door.
But we're not gonna blow past possibly one of my favorite celebration moments in any movie, where a jubilant Steven, upon finally being accepted into the boys club, offers a rousing like whoopee, like it's such an awkward. It was so.
Oh my God!
It was such an awkward, strange. I even remember as a kid, because a lot of this film is tied to my childhood, right?
Right.
I remember as a kid going like, "What the fuck is this guy's problem?" I remember, maybe it was because my parents were in the Marine Corps, and nobody said whoopee unless the enemy was like all dead on the battlefield or retreating. I thought, like, man, what's this guy's damage? What is there something wrong with him? Like, this was, I think maybe I recognized anxiety and social awkwardness. I think this film started to make me aware that those are actual things, because I feel like the character
I can see that
totally displays all sorts of weirdness and awkwardness around Roger and Peter. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying. He's the kid that like you have to let onto the football team. Like when you're playing like flag football as a kid growing up, he's the kid that they're like, hey, just let him on the team. He's not exactly the best, but
his mom's bringing cookies later on or something
right.
like that.
And he's the kid that maybe he holds the football once and he's super excited. He's coming in for like high fives and you're like, okay, there you go, Timmy. Good job.
It's just a weird moment, and I think like if you look at that scene, I kind of wish now I probably could scrub to it on YouTube, but I can't remember. I vaguely remember Peter and Roger being on either side of him and just kind of like being like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? You know what I mean?
I'm certain they were both like, what the hell?
What just happened? Is this like is he improvising this right now? Or was that in the script? Or, like it was just a very odd.
They're both this inner dialogue is just like Flyboy done lost his mind.
I think they were all kind of celebrating too because they're trying to get the attention of the zombies. But man, I have to think Peter was like, what the fuck is wrong with this motherfucker? He had to have been. Come on. Steven's so awkward. He's even an awkward zombie, but we'll talk about that later.
Awkward, but
effective.
I'm not going to say anymore.
Yeah, awkward but effective. A leader. He truly finds himself at the end of the film.
Yes, I think this is ultimately where he was supposed to go.
It's definitely a triumphant character arc for his character. At the very end of the film, he finally fulfills his purpose.
Yes, definitely.
He just wants to be a dad, I mean, I know that struggle. Sometimes you just want to come home and be a dad. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
I understand. I mean, I don't have children, but I get wanting to come home and be in that role. I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
So these guys are finally making their way through the duct as our Hare Krishna zombie is slowly, and I mean slowly,
we
closing in on Francine.
Like one painful step at a time.
Yeah, like can barely get past the door. He's pushing it for like, 3.5 hours.
He's pushing it for dear life. And he's still, he is like trying to snake his way through the door. I mean, this this zombie probably weighs 85 pounds soaking wet,
If that.
He's not a big man. He is just slightly larger than a child. He's little.
Our Hare Krishna zombie was probably one of the first vegans on film.
Yes.
Until he got turned and then,
Then he just abstained from even in his motivations aren't entirely clear when he finally reaches the promised land. We don't know if he wanted to convert or if he wanted to chow down.
He could have just been there wanting to discuss things with Francine.
I mean, it's established later on that sometimes there are just zombies who are there to just talk. They just take a seat and they just want to talk and look at you. And there are many moments in the film where zombies just crave human contact.
All they want is to be accepted.
They just want to reach out and touch your face sometimes. And it's the humans.
Man.
It's a human
reach
being
out and touch someone.
All right. Oh man, I feel delirious right now. I'm just like making so many.
Actually, I think what's funny is that this is one of the few zombies that gets killed without a gunshot or a stab.
Yeah.
Because it's just Roger swinging the butt of his rifle and jamming it into the Hare Krishna zombie's head. And that's
I think, I think this is another sort of like, so I think, I don't know if this was necessarily true in Day of the Dead, but in Night and in Dawn, I think we talked about this before. Romero had, I don't know if this was deliberate, if it was like supposed to be, if they thought about this, or if this was just coincidental, but there are many points in the film, or there are a couple points in each film where Romero is trying to establish that zombies are indeed afraid of fire, right? And I think this is one of those scenes where we kind of learn that zombies are afraid of fire. And you know, it's kind of ironic, because in the remake of Dawn of the Dead, in Snyder's, you know, arguably the best film of his career, but still somewhat of an abomination.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's for another time.
It's strictly a popcorn film.
Yeah, we could definitely tear that one apart too. I'm excited to do a one-shot episode talking.
Are you saying we should sink our teeth into the Dawn of the Dead remake?
Oh, totally. Yeah, we should.
I've been waiting to make that shitty joke so long.
That was so good. Nailed it. But you know, ironically or not, well, I guess it is kind of irony. The zombies in the remake show absolutely zero fear of fire. Like, they're literally on fire, and they don't care. They don't give a shit. They're faster than the zombies in the original.
There's a whole scene with them spraying them with gas and setting them on fire, and they're still just coming.
They're still coming at you. Yeah. Okay. You know, so I think Snyder was trying to stupidly, I think, break a sort of canon that is established by the original film, which is, you know, any sort of flame or heat. I don't know if it's heat or if it's just the flame. Zombies still retain their human instinct, I guess, in that sense.
I think a lot of that harkens back to some of those old Universal monster films, especially like Frankenstein.
Oh yeah,
with the villagers shoving the torches and him being afraid of the fire. I think it kind of plays off that a bit. Like, it's one of those things, monsters don't necessarily like fire.
Yeah. And I mean, that would definitely be the stuff that Romero grew up watching and absorbed, you know, were those classics. Yeah, especially Frankenstein and Dracula, and, you know, what's his name? Oh God, it played the original Frankenstein. It wasn't Bela Lugosi, was it? It was
Boris Karloff.
Boris Karloff, yeah. So,
although Lugosi did get a turn to play Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. Oh, did he really?
Yes. I don't remember exactly what movie, but he did get his shot at playing Frankenstein's monster. Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, in terms of the terror level, in terms of like, holy crap, I've always been a little more unsettled by the fast zombies and the idea that a zombie would, you know, a flaming zombie would not give a crap about, you know, fire. That does seem pretty terrifying to me, you know.
It's pretty terrifying. At the same time, I think there's much more to fear from just these slow-moving hordes that are just basically assimilating anything they come across.
Yeah, they're just like a tidal wave. You know, not to the ridiculous level of like what got that Z movie, World War Z, you know, like it was kind of stupid.
I still haven't seen that. I've read the book, so I'm good.
The books are a million times. The book is a million times better than the movie. And ironically, again, another ironic thing, written by Mel Brooks' son Max, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, when I found that out, I was like, wait a minute, what? I was like, okay.
Definitely a trip. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, we kind of established in that scene that zombies are afraid of fire. And you know, Fran is freaking out, and you know, that's when our heroes, you know, bust through the door and rifle butt the Hare Krishna zombie, and are really quite gentle with him. You know what I mean? They kind of gently set him on the stairs, like, You know, it's kind of,
There's a bit of sympathy for him. Like,
I think so. Yeah, I think they actually kind of felt bad for this zombie, you know, because he is, again, he's small and childlike, and you know, we've established that at least Peter finds the idea of, you know, dispatching, you know, children zombies distasteful, you know. I mean, so that's kind of a, it's kind of a, there's an interesting dynamic, I think, in that particular interaction with that zombie.
right. So this is where we establish that they're going to stay. They bring in the spoils from their excursion into JCPenney.
Yeah. Yeah, they get some of that cheese and liquor in them, and they're like,
They're listening to
got
the
a
TV.
TV. Yeah, they're like, dude, we ain't going anywhere.
And there's a scene here that I think it's the heaviest scene in the movie. It's between Peter and Steven. Peter's asking Steven, hey, is Francine sick? She's not looking so hot.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, she's 3 months pregnant. And Peter, in a roundabout way, sort of says, do you want to keep the baby? Because if not, I know how to abort the child. If that's what I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, shit gets heavy, dude. It
was
real.
like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, Peter's straight up talking about making a baby zombie. You know, like, you can't control where you're gonna put that coat hanger.
I'm like,
is that
wow.
too wrong, Jeff? Like, I was waiting for a reaction from you. Too much?
No. I was reading something, so I heard you say it, then I was like, wait, I have to react, but I'm reading. No, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, if he doesn't do this right.
Yeah. But I mean, I think this scene is like, God, this is, you know, one of the many scenes why this film would never get remade. You know, or this, a scene like this would never appear in a modern film,
right?
Because Fran has like zero input on this whole, like, she's no, you know what I mean? Like it's just the guys talking, and the idea that, you know, these three dudes would decide the fate of her baby would never happen in a modern film, you know, or maybe it would, I don't know, but it's definitely, yeah, it's a super heavy scene.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I was like, wait a minute, is he talking about what I think he's talking about?
Yeah.
And then on subsequent watches, I'm just like, I'm kind of irritated because I'm like, neither one of these guys thought to ask her.
Yeah, totally. They don't.
It's, well, you're the man, and obviously you should be making the decision here.
Don't worry, we'll hold her down. Well, you know.
Like, I'm sorry, she's the one who is carrying the child.
The baby's living inside of her, not like, Steven's asshole. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty, you know, it's
an entirely different movie if that happened.
Yo, wow. That's that movie, oh God, with Luke, was it Luke Owens or Luke Wilson, that movie, God, what the hell is the name of that movie where he's got a thing, it's like he's got like some creature living literally up his butt, and he goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, you got a thing up your butt, you know?
Oh, is that the that's the one that was that the one with was it actually Ken Marino, Bad Milo?
Bad Milo, yeah, it was Bad Milo. Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it, but I've seen promos and trailers and heard people talk about it, and I'm like, wait, you're telling me it's about something that lives up this guy's ass?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's a creature. It's like a little. I'm
like, well, you know, it's like I watched a movie about a turd demon called Monster, so you know what? Not outside of the realm of possibilities for me to watch.
Looked like a decent film. I'm checking it out. I saw Zombievers not too long ago, and it's a catchy theme song they got going on.
I tried and I couldn't. I think it was just maybe too late. I wasn't in the right mindset.
Watch Zombievers, yeah, it's pretty shitty, but the theme song's amazing. Zombievers.
Oh my God.
Zombievers. Tracy, my wife. For people who don't know, we watched it. It was a thing.
Oh man.
But anyway, so they try to make this heavy decision without consulting the mom, and quite understandably, Fran is very upset with Steven, and
He overhears.
yeah,
And basically
Steven,
is like,
yeah,
I don't want to
Steven
live in this mall. It's a prison.
He misses the shot yet again. Yeah, he took his shot and he missed.
He doesn't pick up on social cues.
he's not very swift when it comes to interpersonal relationships.
And
I mean, this is truly a day of losing for Steven. You know what I mean?
Oh yes. And I think this scene is probably the darkest in the film, not only because they're discussing aborting a baby, but you're hearing the news reports of everything just breaking down.
Yeah, society's going to shit.
There's very few people still on the air. The guys are telling them are like, look, stay away from these places. You have to shoot them in the head. We don't know what else to do. We really have no. They're basically like, we don't have a plan. Tons of cities are already overrun. If you find a place to hole up, stay there.
Well, yeah,
it's basically the gist of what they're saying. I mean, I don't have it written down word for word, but
I thought that so in the beginning of the film, the civil authorities, the military authorities are telling people that they can no longer occupy residences, right? Like they have to coalesce essentially. Like they can't stay in, and then they're
wanting them to go to certain areas, certain military outposts shelters, where they can protect them.
Is just insane advice, at this point. Like, let's put all these, because they don't understand. But in the course of a few days, because I think really chronologically speaking, there's only been a couple of days since they've landed, since the beginning of the film, them flying, I think maybe 48 hours have elapsed.
I'd say roughly. Yeah. And you can see that change in how the broadcast is. They're no longer on like a set with two people behind a desk. They're basically filming one of the back walls.
Yeah, it's just like,
and it's just two guys in chairs talking back and forth, and Dr. Eye Patch, I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Straight out of a what was that? What's that animation with Dr. Girlfriend and
the Venture Brothers.
That guy looked like a character straight out of the Venture Brothers.
Kind of reminded me of what is the actor's name? Jonathan Rhys Davies.
Yeah,
thank you.
Jonathan Rhys Davies. We both that's exactly who that dude. Like, I was just waiting for him to be like, Indy.
And my axe.
Yeah, and my axe.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. God, fucking Jonathan Rhys Davies, man. But I mean, Dr. Eye Patch definitely is like, he's on the side of like, fuck it. He is like, nuke it from orbit. That's the only way to be sure. He's talking about touching upon the nation's nuclear reserves, and he is giving people the straight dope that they need to survive the zombie apocalypse.
He's very cut and dry.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few times where I'm like, I'm glad you're just saying it as it is, because people need to hear, look, either do A or end up as B.
Yeah, exactly. And, and then there's like, kind of, as he's talking, they cut away to this montage, right, of what's happening. I'm thinking it's a montage of what's happening outside the mall, because you see the zombies outside the mall. You see that one zombie, right. I think it's like a girl zombie trapped in the car or whatever. I mean, it's definitely, you see this montage of things happening outside as Dr. Eye Patch is sort of talking about
just
not
showing
being,
how like dire the situation has
Yeah.
become.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I think that's the scene, right, where he's like saying, don't be fooled into thinking these people are your friends or your family.
Yes,
They're not.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Dummies,
dummies,
dummies.
yeah, like that's George Romero, like just
Oh yeah.
that's his hot take on his audience, I think. But it's
Yeah, except for those of us who were devoted to him, they're like, we love it, we understand everything you said. He's like, okay, you're not a dummy.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably, I don't know. I certainly think that dummies, that's effective, because like that's the line that so many people remember. I that's like, that line stands out so clearly in my head, and I don't know if the statement that Romero was trying to make is part of that, or if that's, I think that's like one of those um, cinematic elements that's designed to sort of maybe foreshadow, the fate of anybody who tries to
Right.
pretend that life is normal, you know, and
Right.
I think it's kind of establishing, it's foreshadowing this group's attempt to try and create some sort of normalcy in this apocalyptic happening.
Oh, definitely.
So I think that scene is like critically important. I think it's one of the best scenes and one of the most arresting scenes in the movie, because it really is showing you that the world, it's over. It is done.
Yeah. And I think this is, in my opinion, this is the darkest the film gets.
Oh, for sure.
This is, you've seen everything leading up to them getting to the mall, then it's like, okay, well, they're at the mall, everything should be fine. And he's like, no, I'm going to ground you for a minute.
Yeah.
You're going to realize just how stark things are. Would you want to bring a child into this situation? Look at what's happening out there according to the news reports. We're showing you it's fucked. So
yeah,
you decide, what are you going to do?
For sure.
And then from there, I think we slowly kind of climb out of that darkness and get a little bit, not so much like the hopeful light shining through, but more like, well, we can still get by. We know what we have to do to get by. Maybe all hope isn't as lost as they're saying.
Well, I think that's when, the survivors, that's when our little band of adventurers kind of create this fake life around being isolated in this mall, and time kind of stops for them. And, I think that the tone of the film definitely changes at that point. And I think that, there are little bits of reality interspersed in between this scene and sort of as we move on in the film. But yeah, so
definitely. I think there's too much to discuss right now that we're going to have to reconvene for a part 4.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a part 4. I think we warned everybody that a part 4.
It was probably going to happen.
It was probably going to happen, yeah, because we took too many. The road was long and winding today.
Right. But I think part 4, we're going to hit everything and we're going to close it out. So you're going to hear this last chunk. And
yeah,
this has been a wild ride. I've had a lot of fun doing this with you, man. This has been great.
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking forward to a part 4.
We're gonna beat you over the head with part 4, whether you want it or not.
We're gonna block your entrances with trucks and
yeah, that's right. We're gonna have secret discussions about whether we're gonna keep part 3 around while you're sleeping and determine your fate for you.
That's right.
That's how we roll.
We're gonna
let
contact you via CB radio and tell you that if you don't help us out, we're just gonna come in.
We're gonna watch as a zombie shoves as you shove a screwdriver in a zombie's ear and not even lift a finger to help you. That's how we roll on the Skewered Universe Podcast.
That's right, baby.
That's
all right. So
Alrighty.
thanks, Pat. And you guys
No
keep
problem.
listening. Part 4 coming soon.
In your ear holes.
Check out Skewered Universe Podcast at the following links: skeweredhead.com, facebook.com/groups/Skewered Universe Podcast, skewereduniverse.podbean.com, Twitter at SkeweredU, Instagram, Skewered_universe, email the show at skewereduniversepodcast@gmail.com, Patreon, patreon.com/Skewered Universe Podcast. Join our Patreon, go to patreon.com/Skewered Universe Podcast to get access to exclusive bonus content such as Skewered Universe transmissions and audio commentary tracks.